The vision, the story, the value. I want to go where the story goes. I want to keep telling myself a better story. I don't want to just react to everyone else's story. I wanted to live in the story that was made for me, maybe even for us. If subsidiarity is real, then it's real. And if it isn't, then I'm just a hedonist or maybe a sadist. Or maybe there's truth to both of those statements. The Alliance of Responsible Citizens, ARC, 2025. I want to go to the source. Say you want about Jordan B. Peterson. Has he lost his way or sold out? Maybe his new album doesn't hit as hard as the first one. He isn't Christian enough yet. Whatever. But many things changed culturally in 2016 directly because of him, or because of the things happening around him, around all of us. And they continue to change. They're still changing. Like in 2020 when Peterson fell down, people like Jonathan Pageau and John Vervaeke and Paul VanderKlay humbly rose up into the salience of the moment. When the seeds were planted, the logi went out. The lessons were taught, symbols, consciousness, community, and they spread to the high in openness, high in agreeableness, low in agreeableness, and theological, philosophical, psychological, the autodidacts on YouTube, where this whole thing began in the first place. Conversations began happening, communities began brewing, and now the seeds that were planted are sprouting. Sprouting at ARC, sprouting at Symbolic World, sprouting at the lectern, in the estuaries, the scene that has gathered in the underneath, in the broken clock towers, on the Friday mornings, where people on the quest for the Grail country gather for hours on end, randos upon randos, just chatting. Those seeking the code beneath the code. From NorCal to the Netherlands, from Greece to China, it's this little corner of the internet, and it's changing the world, or at least mine. Many of the people leading ARC were impacted by Peterson's work. Well, maybe more by his stance, because some people don't have 40 hours a week to devote to post-grad, pre-grad YouTube. Rather, people have gathered around his courage, even around his missteps and his mistakes. Artists, theologians, philosophers, scientists, comedians, and politicians. And so, yeah, Peterson has the gold. He has the gold because he was the first to fight the cultural dragon and pierce its side. He was the first to wound it. But he did not walk away unscathed. It wounded him, and it wasn't defeated. For it won't truly be defeated until it actually is. And it fought back. The novel coronavirus joined forces with the woke mind virus and the worst of authoritarian impulses of our time. And then Peterson was gone for 2 years, while mostly peaceful riots and wars of races raged on in the summer of love. 2 years. The novel virus was the last burst of fight and foul that the dragon spat in an attempt to subdue the independent spirit of Western culture. It was a dark time, but others rose up and joined forces, and the dragon's grip on Western civilization was loosened. And in some places defeated, forced to return to an empty, treasureless cave in 2024. But not without cost, and not without damage, and not without the broken trust of every sector, faith, community, and country. The knights of our culture now have to ask the question of themselves, what do you do once you've won the war, defeated the dragon, collected the gold? Do you keep fighting because it's all you've known? Do you retreat to the comfort and gloating? Do you go assume the throne and sit on it and get fat in your newfound decadence and victory? Or do you go out and rebuild the broken, battered kingdom? Rebuilding after the war is not exciting, nor is it as engaging, but it is what is right. And it's an opportunity. Do you go out among the people and face the broken reality once again? Do you lay down the sword and pick up the hammer, put on the gloves, shatter the fourth wall and reach out and stand by those who had all but lost hope? Can you inspire younger men once again? Can you do the harder work of rebuilding broken trust of the disenchanted? Because there will be another dragon, possibly more vile than the first. The work never ends until this world passes away. But we are still in this world, so we need to do the thing. Attend to this place. You may not believe we're living in a moment of rebuilding, a season of trust building, because for the cynics, that moment never actually arises. It never comes. But for the sincere believer, for those pursuing an earnest authenticity, it can. And guess what? I'm a believer. So I'm asking myself the same questions after defeating certain dragons in my own life and fighting to rescue everything meaningful to me with courage, truth, and love. Can I do it again? Can I set my gaze upon my community, on my church, on my friends, on this meta culture, and take every lesson that I have learned for myself and my family, and at 40 years old, seek to help cultivate deeper trust in a world where that trust has been long forsaken, devastated, broken again and again and again. You see, even this space, this corner of the internet, I've spent the last year meeting people, building trust, cultivating friendships, and supporting worthy causes. You know, when I showed up on this scene, trust was not given freely, but hospitality was. The invitation was always there. And I can only hope that the citizens of this little corner have learned half as much from me as what I have learned from them. Lurking around in this little corner of the internet from channel to channel, stream to stream, flotilla to flotilla, watching you all, learning from you all, relating to you all, being sharpened and shaped by you all. You see, last year I showed up here on YouTube because something truly strange was happening. And after I saw something on a Friday morning live stream over on Paul VanderKlay's channel, a guy with a sizable following on YouTube just opened up his channel and he let people flood in. And it not only to feel important, but to actually be important. And not just hope to be a part of something, but actually be a part of something digital, yet something real. And I was seeking to be a part of this very thing too, the very thing that had captured my attention for the last 7 years, captivating my curiosity, my imagination, this Peterson phenomenon, only to find that the phenomenon went much deeper than the persona of Peterson. It went all the way down to the persons of people. And after that, I was off to the races, chasing the logos down the track. I began to unpack my own story, now on playlists and video streams on my own channel. I did a stream with Paul, a speed rando. I was invited to Chad's Friday morning podcast, and I went on building my own conversation space, what most people might call a podcast. And then I started building my own conversation. And after 2 conversations, I realized, hey, I'm going to Symbolic World. And after that, I got into Jordan Hall's algorithm and got to have a conversation with him. And in less than 3 months of emanating into the digital space, a place that had helped me transform my very consciousness, I get to meet these people. I meet Griz out in the wild, share a drink with Nate Heil from Grail Country, had a conversation with Jonathan Pageau, toured an Orthodox church with him, joked around with Neil DeGrade about his pedal board, annoyed Richard Rowland with my questions about the universal history, shared a meal with some tears with Jordan Hall, swapped stories with Martin Shaw, and shook Jordan B. Peterson's hand, having the pleasure to simply say thank you to someone who I considered a hero. Oh, and I even did a live news report for Paul VanderKlay on his FOMO live stream. That was fun. I even shared some clips from the Symbolic World that went viral. And I had to deal with the spirit and the power of this space in a way I wasn't expecting. So I took the video down. And then a year went on, and some things slowed down. But I kept having conversations. I kept learning about the little culture of this little corner of the internet. And every now and then, magical things would happen. Deep dialectic dialogos took place as I kept practicing the art of conversation craft across a screen. Unexpected responses to invitations and to conversations with people I've never met. I dug into the people and the lore and the culture of this place. It was enthralling. I know I didn't really exactly fit in, but hospitality was always given regardless. I began to experiment with how I could extend that hospitality in this space myself, like when a presidential candidate was shot, or when citizens of the corner did something like create a cartoon, release an album, or write a book. I could celebrate that with them. I could also investigate my own curiosities in people and subcultures represented in this space. Orthodoxy, Judaism, meta-modernism, Unitarianism, Gen Zism, politicism, ecumenicism, creativityism. I've had conversations with people from China, Greece, the Netherlands, England, and even Australia. I've talked to people from California to New York, Washington to Florida, and people in my own state. I just passed episode 100 on the Yours Truly podcast. It's been one hell of a year. And just the other day, someone named Rigel Winsong Little Deer Thurston wrote a Substack about how I baptized him into this little corner of the internet, as if it is actually something real. So thank you, TLC, for accepting me, engaging with me, challenging me, stretching me, caring about me, and just playing this game with me. Thanks for the randos, the lurkers, the people with status, the thank yous, the likers, the subscribers, the channel members. You know who you are. And thanks for coming over and playing in my sandbox here on Yours Truly. Back to ARC. I took some time at the end of the year to really ask myself, if I could really do something really meaningful for this channel, what could I really do for this thing? This podcast, this hobby, this reality, this discipline, this community, for myself, for the grift, for the channel. What could I invest in that would be the most bang for my buck? What could be the most valuable thing I could do? And I quickly knew it wouldn't be buying more gear or books or some digital access. It would be about going on another pilgrimage to the source, much like Symbolic World. However, it would be a bigger trip, across an ocean, across to another country, to a powerful gathering of people. And in this way, I would rise up upon the shores of England in estuary to swim and inhabit time and space with some truly remarkable people. People that intimidate me, people that inspire me, people that are people. And even though there are always good critiques that could be made about such an event as ARC, there are also good reasons why it was conjured into being. In some way, not that much different from being conjured from the TLC, like later this year, Midwestuary Conference in Chicago. I'm gonna be there. Are you? I digress. To get people together in the same space and place and time with hopes of cultivating a better world, better persons, better stories, better friends. This ARC thing, this symbolic world, this fellowship, this little corner of the internet, it all happened on YouTube. It's a place, but it's not a place. It's a space. So we have to meet, we have to embody, we must remember embody. So the more that we can within reason, the more we should. And not just with each other, but with our home, our neighbors, our communities, our churches, and our civic leaders. To get responsible citizens, persons, people to tell a better story, to be part of the best story. We have to share it with them. We have to embed it in and of ourselves. And this is my story, and I'm inviting you all to keep listening, to keep paying attention, and to keep connecting, participating, perspectivaling, proceduraling, propositionaling with me, to take hold of your own agency in this life and join the conversation. and to start crafting what you can craft and be a part of this great story. And here's the coolest part. I'm taking you all with me, my friends, channel members, channel watchers, likers, subscribers, even the dislikers. Channel members will have that priority in the grift, so sign up for that. But also, I'll be carrying this TLC banner for all of us right next to Paul. Because what business does a washed-up worship leader, travel nurse, micro YouTuber have at being at ARC? The answer is because of this relationship I have with you guys here. And because I can, and because I want to go. So I'm gonna go. And you're coming with me. So I see you all there. Sincerely, yours truly, Christian Baxter, better known as C-Bax in these here parts of the internet.